Greetings, strangers. I'm Britt.
Why you point to me when you said I'm Britt? You supposed to point to yourself and then do.
I'm doing like a did it.
You did it too early, but
I'm Britt. I'm Britt.
and I'm D.
Like it's like a.
Okay, yeah, this one is
like
gonna
a
be a
sitcom.
mess.
That's funny. Welcome to another bonus episode of It's a Strange World After All. The podcast where we discuss true crime cases, the supernatural, urban legends, conspiracy theories, and all of the things that keep the world strange. However, for today's bonus episode, we are doing movie reviews of the horror, thriller, slasher, and true crime genre. Getting it in.
Okay. In today's episode, a 6-year-old boy brutally murdered his 17-year-old sister on Halloween night in 1963. He escapes from a mental hospital on Halloween 15 years later and returns to his hometown. He becomes fixated on an unsuspecting high school student and goes on a murderous rampage throughout the neighborhood. John Carpenter's Halloween, released October 25th, 1978. I was trying to make it.
They wouldn't have even noticed. They probably been like, "Oh, that's cool." They played they played it the theme music
again with the Vanilla Ice. Oh, you didn't change it though
at all.
Yeah. Even though this isn't the first slasher movie, but it did kind of like what's the word? Because I was gonna mess it up, so I ain't even gonna say it. But it did like
revamp,
yeah,
or reinvent, or
revamp,
like
basically.
Oh, okay.
The
style.
Yeah.
I feel like it was pretty advanced for its time. Like even like the cinematography, like how some of the shots are filmed and some of the choices. Like,
yeah. Yep.
Look at us. It had a good medium. This movie is 92 minutes. I wonder how long was Trick or Treat.
You know what? I don't know.
Because to me, this movie feels so long. Like
it does. I thought it was just me.
But Trick or Treat was an hour and 40 minutes.
It was? That's weird.
I don't know. I just feel like maybe it did move slow because there was like a lot of like long periods with no dialogue, like just music, maybe.
Yeah.
Like just the scoring.
Yeah. Which was great, by the way.
Oh, no, yeah, which is great. Not complaining about any of me. But yeah, I think too, because he moves slow. The fight scenes are slow. Like, I mean, like, how is he catching them except for, I guess, being strong and being like swift?
Well, no, he was kind of fast though, because he kept disappearing though. Like when the little boy was like, he's outside, and then she looked right when he said it, he was gone.
See, that's why it's weird to me but like think about it though, in like the fight scenes and stuff, it looks like he moves like in cement, like it looks like it's like this, and the choking is like this, and
I
don't know.
That's probably just to be dramatic.
Oh, okay, like a director's choice, not that he's actually moving that slow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
kind of.
I was like, that don't make sense. How he get you if he's moving? But then, how is he disappearing? Because he's big. He's not small.
Yeah.
How is he disappearing in bushes and stuff that quick? The film begins October 31st, 1963, and it is Halloween night in Haddonfield, Illinois. And then, so you see the intro is pretty iconic too.
Yes.
Like, because the intro is like with the pumpkin and then the music. It's like something that now when you hear the music, you know who to expect.
Yep.
We are introduced to the 17-year-old Judith Margaret Myers, and that's played by Sandy Johnson. So you see her through the front door, and it's like shot almost like in first person, like as if you were playing a video game. Yeah. You can see she's hanging out with some boy, her boyfriend, maybe, I don't know, some boy. And then he's basically like, like, what's going on? Are we alone? Because it's evident that he's trying to get the,
I say you are stupid.
I was trying to figure out how to say it. I didn't know if I want to say get the skins, get it in, get the drawers. I didn't know how I
Get the
wanted to
what?
relate. Drawers. Get the drawers. I didn't know. So, he's trying to do something mannish. She basically is just like, well, no, there's somebody by the name of Michael. So she's like, oh, Michael's like around here, living his life, whatever. And then her boyfriend, what?
Because it's literally her brother. Like somebody
Oh, I
named
know, right?
Michael.
Yeah, that was the way I said it, I think probably sounded worse. She was more so like, oh, Michael's around somewhere. Not some. Let me clarify. She wasn't like some nigga named Michael is around here somewhere. No, she said Michael's around. My brother's around. So they start playing around. Her boyfriend plays with like a clown mask, and then they start like kissing. And she's he asked for what he came to do. Like I said, he was like, come on, shawty, come on, little Judith,
Oh
come
my
on.
God.
They go upstairs, and then you see like that the person that's standing outside the person that's like the first person view, and then you see him grab a knife, like a butcher knife. What? And then you see him grab a
Just the way
knife.
you said it.
Because I said knife. No, then he went to go grab a knife, little butcher knife. So some stuff's about to go down.
Whoever this is, he gets to the bottom of the staircase. And Judith's boyfriend is, putting his clothes back on because they done already, allegedly.
Did what he came to do. That wasn't no allegedly. Look, keep going.
I'm so used to doing that.
Ain't no allegedly. It's what happened.
That's funny. Okay, so he's putting his clothes back on and he's leaving the house. And then Judith's like, okay, call me tomorrow. And I mean...
Wait, he looked up and he was like, yeah. I was like, my first note of the movie was, he ain't finna call her back.
I know.
He's not finna call you. I already got what I wanted. That's why you don't give away the cow. I mean the milk, not the cow, because you the cow. My bad. I messed it up. I can't even fight for myself, for my rights. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Don't give them the milk for free.
Exactly.
Cherish yourself. You the cow. You control the milk.
Anyway, so as soon as he left, this figure starts to walk up the stairs. And then like he...
I'm gonna stop. I'm trying to set the mood.
Oh, man. So he's walking up the stairs and he looks down and he sees the clown mask on the floor. So he picks it up and puts it on his face. I like how that was shot too, because it was like shot, how can I explain it? As if, you remember? Because it's like two eyes when he puts the mask on, and
they
it's
do
like...
it as if, keeping it still first person. So like as if you were the one putting the mask on. Yes.
Yeah, that's how I would describe it. I couldn't figure out how to describe it. So he goes into Judith's room and she's sitting in front of her mirror, nude.
That was my second note, because it's the 70s and it's a horror slasher film.
Yeah.
But that was my second note. I was like, why would you be sitting there brushing your hair without a shirt or a bra?
I mean,
it was
she just
weird.
got done. I mean,
why
what
you
was
why
she
your
doing
underwear
before?
on though? She still had her underwear on. She
did.
wasn't just naked. It was maybe like the whole
Yeah.
combination.
This is before they were showing like full nudity in movies. So maybe
That's
they
true.
had to leave,
This is weird. Go take a shower, then brush your hair, girl. Why are you just? Why is that your first thing that you did after that was to brush your hair?
Oh my God! So she's brushing her hair. She doesn't know that whoever this is behind her. But you know how you feel somebody is looking at you, or you feel,
Somebody.
yeah.
How come I
So
feel like somebody's watching me? You welcome.
So she turns around and she sees Michael, a young Michael, played by Will Sandon. So it's her brother.
Yeah.
I guess she didn't see the knife at first because she looked a little upset because, like, don't come in my room. I'm not even dressed, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was about to, yeah, wail or wild out. She was.
So that's when he raised the knife and he just started stabbing her.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Repeatedly.
yeah. And it was,
Repeatedly. Did I say repeatedly?
I think so.
Repeatedly.
I wasn't gonna
Repeatedly.
say
He
that
did it
because I
repeatedly.
because I didn't know if that's what you said, and I was like, wait, that didn't sound right. But I was like, I'm gonna let it go.
Repeatedly. He did it repeatedly.
So then she falls and she's covered in blood, and then Michael goes into the front yard where this car pulls into the driveway. It's their parents, and then they pull off his mask.
Oh, it's the kid. Ah. In the 70s, they were messed up about it. They were probably like, oh,
Yeah. And then, like, the fact that he's emotionless, like, he has this blank stare on his face and
yeah.
he's just standing there after he just killed his sister.
He stabbed her to death. Also, I just thought about it. Do you know how much strength you have to be able to stab a human being? And he was 6.
Yep.
So how strong is this kid?
We'll get into it at the end if I remember.
Okay.
Because there's kind of an explanation for that, which may explain why there's so many movies.
On October 30th, 1978, so 15 years later, in Smiths Grove, Illinois, you meet Sam Loomis, which is a doctor. Like, he's like a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's played by Donald Pleasance. And then you see him with his assistant nurse. Her name is Marion Chambers. Her character name is Marion Chambers, and then her real name is Nancy Stevens. So they're headed to the sanitarium to pick up Michael Myers. So at this point, he is 21. He's considered like highly dangerous, but they have to take him to see a judge to basically like discuss like what they're going to do with him, like his future incarcerations. Was he going to stay there? Was he going to go to prison? In the middle of their conversation,
I was just going to say that what I was going to say before. So when they were talking like on the way to the sanitarium, she was like, why do you keep calling him it? Because he never referred to Michael as like a human. So you were saying like, why is he so strong? Why is he this and why is he that?
Yes.
I think if you're going to go with like a supernatural element, he's saying he's not human. He's the embodiment of evil.
Yeah, I remember him saying that.
Yeah, because
Okay.
he kept calling him it instead of like either by his name or calling him a man or yeah.
I was not even thinking about it. I was not even thinking about it, in all honesty.
Yeah.
Dang. Okay, so they pull up and they see like all these patients just standing around, which I was like, that's weird because it was pouring down raining, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Because wasn't like Marion, like, did they let them outside? Like it
Yeah.
wasn't an issue. Yeah, I was like, no, ma'am, you
Yeah.
should be concerned.
No, she was
You
like,
should be
are they
concerned.
yeah, because she was like, are they supposed to be outside or something like that, she
Oh,
said. But
okay.
yeah.
No question about it. They probably shouldn't be out. And it was pouring down rain. And like,
Yep.
why would you let them outside like that? So immediately, you know, something is wrong. Dr. Loomis leaves Marion by herself. And then all of a sudden, a body falls. It's because it kind
No.
of startled me. I was like, what?
No, he didn't fall though. Like he ran. You talking about when he got on the car?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he ran and jumped on the car.
Oh, I said fall, but yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry. I
Yeah.
meant like I skipped the running part. Sorry. I
Oh,
just meant like from her perspective, it was like somebody fell on top of the car.
yeah.
Sorry. And she was like, what the heck? It was a patient. And you see that it's Michael Myers, who the adult actor is Nick Castle. And she rolls down the window.
I was like, why would you do that, ma'am?
She rolled down the window. She had to see what was going on.
No, you don't.
I
I
thought
was
that
like,
too.
why?
Same D. But then obviously he stuck his big arm. I was like, oh my God. He stuck his big arm through the window and like grabs her by the hair. Wait, okay, stop. This happened to me. I had my hair straight one day. It was like the last time I had straightened my hair, and I was driving the car with like the drop top down. Wind was blowing everything, and then I was like, "Well, it's too much wind on my head." So I closed the sunroof way. I went to like lean forward, and it felt like somebody had grabbed my. I pulled my head back. It scared the shit out of me. I was like, "Oh my God!" And then I realized my hair was stuck in the sunroof.
Dang.
Like I had got it stuck in the sunroof. I was like, I can't. It's too much." I was like, I did not ask for this. I can't even ride with my on the freeway. It really did scare me though. It made me think about that. I was like, oh my God, I'm about to die. Bridget's fat hand through the window grabs her hair. Oh, okay. So after he grabbed her hair, same thing that happened to me. I'm swerving, she's swerving, we swerving.
Man.
Because she's in such a state of shock. There's like a struggle ensues. She manages to get away. So she gets out of the car. Michael gets in. He's driving away.
Yeah, because if I'm not mistaken, she looked just as he was jumping on the car, though. So she kind of saw him, though. So why would you let the window down?
I get what you're
Yeah,
saying. Because
'cause
you already knew what it was.
yeah, you knew it was, she probably didn't know it was him, but you knew it was one of those patients.
That's true. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. I was just like, you know what?
Said, why would she wrote? I don't even know.
Yeah.
I'd have been swerving, trying to get off. You know, like how you do a bug. Oh well,
Yeah, well.
how you would
Yeah.
do a bug.
Yeah.
I'd be like, get off.
Oh,
Why you still holding on?
Okay. The next day, Halloween, in Haddonfield, Laurie Strode, played by Jamie Lee Curtis, which
Jamie
is
Lee
her
Curtis.
which this is her first acting role.
Yes.
And
Her mother's
I was just about to say.
Oh, go no, go. Say it like it was go ahead. Fun fact.
Fun fact, her mother is I do not know her name though, but she was the woman in Psycho. Janet Leigh.
Yeah, you found it.
Yeah. Lee.
No, I think it's Lee.
But yeah, she plays the main woman in Psycho. So that's her mom. Yeah.
I love Jamie Lee Curtis. She was a baby. She was so young.
Yes. She's leaving the house to walk to school, and then her father, Morgan, played by this is so fun. I don't know why I was laughing at this. Played by Peter Griffith.
Oh, his name.
Yeah. Even though it's not. Yeah. So he's a real estate agent, and he tells her, don't forget to leave the key at this house so a family could come by and look at it. She's walking to the house, and the 8-year-old boy, Tommy Doyle, played by Brian Andrews, walks up to her. He's the kid that she's going to be babysitting later on.
Yeah.
They get to the house, and Tommy's like, you can't go up there. He was like,
he's like, hell no. You know who live here?
Exactly. He was like, nah, you can't go up there. And he was like, something bad happened there once. So obviously this is the old home of Michael Myers.
Mm-hmm.
So when she goes and leaves the key under the mat and she walks off, it's like he appears in the little window, Michael Myers.
Yep.
I was like, how did they not see him?
Because he was creeping hard this entire movie.
He was.
And he's not small. He is not
That's why I was like, it wasn't like he was peeking through the curtain or nothing. He was standing in the window. He was like right there.
You see me?
And so Tommy was telling her that the house was haunted, though. So that's what he was
Mm-hmm.
thinking. So Tommy leaves, and then Lori is walking by herself. Here goes Michael Myers. He done stepped out the house, and he's standing like, what's he like, standing on the sidewalk while she's walking. And
With his collar pop, with
I
his
know.
freaking collar. Pull your collar down. He was like, oh, shit.
Oh, my God. But I was like,
I'm finna get him.
I mean, if it were me, I probably would have turned around. Because you can feel somebody.
Yes,
Yeah. But she just kept on walking. Was she singing too? I was like, okay, ma'am, you got to be aware.
She never saw him, though. So, I mean, I don't know.
Well,
I don't know
yeah.
that I would stop, or I'd have to feel really uncomfortable, like,
Yeah.
in order for me to turn around. And then she had to get to school. What's she gonna do?
Yeah. Because, if it were me, I would be thinking about, oh, this little boy just said this house was haunted. And then I would be looking to
Oh,
see if
yeah.
I could see. Well,
She doesn't strike me. She doesn't strike me as someone that would care. She seems like pretty
reasonable.
sensible, like
Yeah. Yeah.
a nerd. She's a nerd for back
She
then.
was. She was.
Nerd alert. Lori's a square. So meanwhile, back at Smith's Grove, the doctor is like basically talking to another doctor, Terrence Wynn, played by Robert Phelan. So they're arguing about his next moves. Like Dr. Loomis is like adamant that he's gonna go back home to his hometown, Haddonfield. He was like, how is he gonna get there? Like that he couldn't even really drive. But Dr. Loomis was like, no, I watched him. I literally watched him drive off. Which I was thinking that too. We were like, how the heck is he driving away? He was a kid when he got locked up. How you know how to drive? He was 6. So how you know how to drive? The doctor was like, well, maybe somebody taught him. I was like, all right.
Oh,
okay.
man.
He just got in the car, he drove away. Fast forward to Lori. And she's sitting in English class at her high school, and then she sees that Smith's Grove sanitarium car, which, mind you, that's what Michael Myers, Eminem, had drove away in, and she sees it parked outside of the window, and then Michael again with his popped collar, he's just chilling, he's straight chilling, leaning back, looking at her, standing by the vehicle, and she's just like, like what the heck, like. He has on this grayish William Shatner mask. Shatner.
Yes.
And it's terrifying.
It is.
Then you realize, oh wait, that's just a William Shatner mask. Why is it so terrifying? Maybe it's the hair.
Maybe. Because why it look like that?
Yeah, but no, even that exchange to me felt like forever. Like it really was like that little meme with P. Diddy and like they were staring back like Jason was the dude that was on stage and he was like, you see me? And she was like, I see you.
That's
what it felt like. It felt like it lasted
build,
forever.
yeah. It has to build.
But then the teacher like brings her back to reality and asks her a question. She answers, but by the time she looks back, Michael has disappeared again with a quickness. He is crafty.
He is. And then I was like, if I saw him standing out there like that, I would be shook. And she answered that question in detail. And I was like, how?
She sure did. Like she had just woke up from daydreaming, not like he was actually sitting there.
Yeah.
I agree. I would have been like, ma'am, there is a man in a white William Shatner mask with his collar popped standing outside. I feel threatened. That's what I would have said.
Exactly. How did she?
I don't know.
Man.
Maybe she thought she was tripping.
Yeah. I just thought that was amazing. Because how can you concentrate?
I don't know.
So Michael, he gets back into the Smith's Grove sanitarium car, and then he's driving alongside Tommy, who is not paying attention. But he just walked. He was just sad. He was stressed. He didn't messed up his pumpkin. He was looking forward to
Mm-hmm.
carving that pumpkin. So he's just sad walking home, and then Michael, he was following him for a little bit, and then he just drove off. Thank God.
I know, right? There will be no harming of any children in here. Spoiler. Oh, we had forgot to give the spoiler at the
I
start of the show.
mean,
Hey,
78,
spoilers.
78.
It's gonna ruin the movie. Somebody
If
be like,
you
I
haven't seen it, if you ain't seen it by now, what
I was
have
gonna
you been
watch it on
doing?
Halloween for the first time.
This movie came out in 78 and you still ain't seen it?
I know. Okay, so Dr. Loomis is still trying to get to Haddonfield. They show him like basically at a telephone booth and he's talking to someone from the Haddonfield Police Department. And he's basically explaining to them like, hey, by the way, what?
No, I'm gonna let you know because I was like that. I love him
Oh,
though, Loomis.
he's explaining like, hey, Michael broke out. Like, y'all need to be worried. Like, he's coming to Haddonfield. Like, without a doubt, he's coming to Haddonfield. The guy's like, basically, like, I don't know. I don't know. And so basically, he gets frustrated and then he's like, okay, whatever. He hangs up.
But no, he was like, my bad. He was like,
No, go ahead. Go
Michael feels like
ahead.
if something happened, that's on y'all. And then he hung up the phone.
He's a
I was
G.
like,
He's a
I
G.
love him.
There's something else when we get to it, we probably have the
Oh,
same
it's
note
probably.
because he's yeah.
I hope we thinking about
Okay,
the
okay,
same thing.
okay. So okay, basically, yeah, he's like, well, F y'all not helping me with that. So he's about to leave, but then he notices a tow truck that's parked nearby like a grassy area. He goes to inspect it and he sees Michael Myers' white hospital gown and he sees that same matchbook from earlier. And now he's like, oh no, without a doubt, Michael Myers is going to Haddonfield. And he gets back in the car and drives towards Haddonfield, but he doesn't notice the body of the guy that was driving the truck. He's just like laying dead in the grass.
Yeah.
So it's like a dun dun dun. It's like one of those moments.
Back in Haddonfield, the high school students are getting out of school. So Lori is walking with her friend, kind of name,
You could
Linda.
just say Linda. You could just
What
say
kind of
Linda. You
name
don't
is
have to
this?
say Linda. Linda Verdun Clark.
She's walking home with her friend Linda, played by PJ Souls, who is complaining about, oh, I have to do this. Like, what was she saying? She's a cheerleader, so she has cheerleading practice and she has to do all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, girl, oh, it's so
She's the
hard
one with the
being this
long
popular.
hair,
Yeah,
right?
the long blonde hair.
She
Yeah,
she got on my nerves. She
I
was
know.
dingy too. She was pretty dingy.
Yeah. Lori, she's just like, okay, whatever. Because she ain't had nothing to do. She was just going to be babysitting. So she didn't care. So
Nerd. You're not going out on Halloween, you freaking nerd.
they're joined by another girl named Annie Brackett, played by Nancy Loomis. I wonder if that's why they named him. Because you know how sometimes in movies and stuff they do that. I'm a reference Supernatural every chance I get, but they do that a lot in Supernatural. Yeah. Because Bobby Singer is actually like one of the producers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Annie and Lori are talking about just because they both had to babysit that night. So Annie is babysitting a little girl named Lindsay Wallace, played by Kyle Richards. So she lives like a few houses down from where the little boy Tommy lives, who Lori is babysitting. I guess they're just like making plans like, oh, I'll call you, this, and that.
Yeah.
As they're talking, the Smiths Grove Sanitarium car, just is flying down the street. He wasn't even really going that fast, really. And so, and she screams like, speed kills, blah, blah, blah. And then he just stopped. And you see how she kind of jumped a little bit. She was like, oh shit. But then he drove off. So one of the girls, I guess they got to her house. Annie and Linda, yeah, No, I was just gonna say after he drove off, they're, smoking their little cigarette and they were trying to figure out how to get Linda's boyfriend to the other house, I guess. Right?
Yeah, they were trying
Yeah.
to figure out, how
So
to
they could,
get Bob
yeah. So they can,
so they could do
yeah.
what grown folks
They
do.
ain't even grown.
I know.
Yeah,
They
so they
want,
were yeah.
they wanted to hunch. Everybody knows
I
if you
thought
were
you were
in a
gonna
scary
say,
movie.
well, hunch or goose or whatever you
The goose was gonna be my next
Yeah.
thing, but I was like, oh no, they gonna die because everybody
Yep.
knows that's the rules. You're not supposed to be getting butt. You're not
Yeah.
supposed to be getting butt.
There's only one movie, but that's on the list though.
Oh, okay. What movie? You can say the name of it.
Cherry Falls, where he was killing. They were in high school, but he was like killing the virgins. So they were like trying to through this big party to have an orgy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You just have to kill
ridiculous.
me. In high school, I've been like, I'd rather die than tarnish, than soil my good name, sir.
Oh man, you
I'd
are
rather
stupid.
die. So Lauren, Annie, they're still walking, whatever. Yeah, they're still walking. Their walk lasted a
Yes,
lifetime. This is
it
the walk
did.
of a lifetime. Um, but suddenly we get some action. Lori sees Michael hiding behind the bush, and I'm laughing or trying to keep from laughing because again he moved fast, but he moved slow because it was like
You
when he
did see
saw her, he was like, oh. Like you saw him, you saw his whole. Like
Yeah.
if a cop asked me, they were like, "We're gonna do a drawing. Can you tell me what he looked like?" I'd be like, "Yeah, he had on the blue painter suit with his pop collar. He had a white William Shatner mask. He was moving slow,
He
D.
was. He
He
was.
was like, oh,
He did, like how
and
Genuine did the little slide. That's how he slid. That's how he slid behind the bushes.
that's what it looked like. Oh, that's what it looked like. Wait, and then okay, so Lori sees him. And Lori's like, oh my gosh, like I just saw the guy that was like, did she say the guy that was following them earlier?
I don't think so. I think she just said she just saw
Okay,
him.
okay. Annie was like, well, let me see. I don't see him. She went to the bush and then she was like, oh, there's a guy here. He wants to ask you out on a date. That's what it was. She was
Yeah.
BSing. So basically, he had left.
Yeah, he probably ran because how he leave that fast? He ran in somebody's
And then, yeah, it
backyard.
was like a straight shot. Yeah, you could
Yeah.
see kind of a ways down. Okay, so then this is Lori. She ultimately runs into Mr. Brackett, played by Charles Cyphers, who is Annie's father, and he's also the sheriff of Haddonfield.
And that whole exchange was a little creepy. He kind of
Because he
gave
was
me
like
some weird vibes.
Halloween.
Yeah.
It's like anybody deserves a good scare. No, not exactly, but hey. Yeah, it was a weird exchange. Lori goes home. They show her walking into her bedroom, and then we see her looking out of the window. Lo and behold, who does she see but Michael Myers standing in the neighbor's backyard? He looking at her, she looking at him, he looking at her, she looking at him. And he's standing behind like clothes hanging on the clothing line. So I
Yeah.
feel like that's a pretty iconic
Yeah.
scene. Like that scene is pretty iconic.
And then it makes me think of It, the beginning of
I
It
was
with the little
thinking that
girl. Yeah.
too. Yep. He does his disappearing act again. It's like 1 minute he's there, the next minute he's gone. And then they fast forward, and then Annie picks up Lori, basically to take her to her, I'm going to call it they babysitting stations. They each got their babysitting
Yeah.
stations. Oh,
And they
but
was
not before. Yeah, they was smoking weed. They were smoking marijuana. A marijuana ciggy.
Okay, so then it cuts to Dr. Loomis at the Haddonfield Cemetery with The what do you call him?
A groundskeeper.
Yeah, kind
Oh,
of.
okay.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh,
Played
okay.
by played by Arthur Mallet. And so they're going to see Judith Myers' grave.
And Judith is his sister,
Yes, the
the one
sister
he
that he
killed.
killed. Yeah. The guy was just babbling and talking and running his mouth about something else about another killer. And then
Yeah.
Loomis was like, can you show me what I'm here to see? I'm not trying to hear all this. And
He's got
so
no time.
exactly. So they get to where her headstone is supposed to be, but it's missing. So that's how he knew for sure that Michael was there.
When I saw that, I thought they were insinuating that somebody had dug her grave. And I was like,
Oh.
whose grave is that tiny? I was so freaking confused. Because I didn't even realize that they were talking about Judith Myers' grave. I thought they were looking for an actual body.
I
And
was
I
like,
was
why
like,
else
what
would
the
they be
hell?
there?
What the hell? They didn't.
No, he just took the headstone. But the
Yeah.
groundskeeper, he just thought it was a prank. But Loomis was like, no, that means that Michael is here.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So it cuts back to Annie and Lori in the car smoking weed. And that's when she tells Annie that she saw somebody in the neighbor's backyard. And whole time, Michael Myers is driving behind them in the station wagon. And I was like, man.
It didn't even seem like he was a car length behind. It literally seemed like he was just following. Like,
Yeah, he
he
was
didn't do
right
any
there.
extra. And they just were not paying attention. They were still smoking them damn cigarettes and not paying talking and not paying attention to them.
No, they was smoking weed. That's probably why they didn't notice.
I mean,
yeah.
I said, yeah, marijuana, ciggies.
So they get up to where her dad is, and it's like this store that's like blocked off. And she asked him what's going on, and he was like, well, somebody broke in, probably kids. And he said that they broke in, they stole a few masks, they stole rope and some knives.
My thought was, then these is just kids? You think these are just kids? Like, what kind of prank are you pulling? What kind of prank are you going to pull with that? You finna kill somebody. This is a murderer, sir. He was so nonchalant about it. Like,
He
oh, it's probably just a
was.
couple of kids.
He was. And she was like, oh, you blame everything on kids. Which I feel
No,
like that's what they
guys.
did in the 70s.
Yeah,
So,
probably. I mean, and it is Halloween night, but those
yeah.
items are like, they're pretty specific. They're like murder, like serial killer items or like kidnapper
Yeah, it's a
items.
serial
Those are
killer
not like,
kit. It's
thank
literally
you.
the kit. Yeah.
That's not no prank kit.
So yeah, they leave, and then soon as they leave, Loomis pulls up and he starts talking to Mr. Brackett, and he was like, okay, I'll be back in about 10 minutes. So Dr. Loomis is standing out there waiting with his back turned to the street, and Michael Myers literally drives past him. I was like,
oh no.
y'all.
Oh no. Turn around, Dr. Loomis. Like he can hear you. Turn around, Dr.
I
Loomis.
know. Man, I was like, does anybody in this movie turn around? Because, like, they
No.
missed so much. He was literally there behind them the whole movie.
Yeah. That could have been the end of the movie right there. He could have called it in. Boom. There we go. And he drops Lori off at her babysitter house, Wallace's house. And as she's walking into the house, again, you see the Smith Grove sanitarium car. And he pulls up alongside of the curb. So he's been following them this entire time, and they still haven't noticed him. He gets out and he hides behind a tree. Again, kind of like. And then he just watches Annie. Meanwhile, Dr. Loomis and Mr. Brackett go to check on the abandoned Myers house. And they're just kind of looking inside, seeing what they can find. And they find a partially eaten dog. It's off camera. And Mr. Brackett is like, what the heck? Like, a man couldn't have done it. Like, no man could have done this. He's probably convinced it's an animal. And Dr. Loomis is like, this isn't a man.
Again,
What'd he say?
reference. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Michael is no man. Like that. Something like that.
Yeah.
They show them going upstairs. Dr. Loomis shows Mr. Brackett where Judith was murdered, where he murdered his sister. Basically starts talking about who Michael Myers really is, kind of like what Dee was saying, that like he's basically not a man, that like in his 15-year experience, like since he's been working with Michael Myers, he knows him to be purely evil.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Brackett is like, what should we do? What? Evil. And then Dr. Loomis is like, bro, you need to get the police out here, but like don't make it like a huge deal, but like get your men on him. And then Dr. Loomis is gonna stay because he believes that Michael Myers is gonna come back to where it all began, to the Myers house.
At the Doyle house, Lori is reading to Tommy, and Tommy is bored. So then out of nowhere, he asks her, like, what is a boogeyman? But before she could answer it, the phone rings, and it's Annie. While they were talking on the phone, Tommy looked out the window and he sees Michael Myers standing next to the Wallace house. Well, he saw like the silhouette.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's screaming like the boogeyman is outside. But when she got to the window and looked out, he wasn't there. So she just went back to talking on the phone. So he was out of there. So by that time he was at the back of the house where Annie was making popcorn, and the family dog came. I was like, the little girl, because she was yelling to the little girl, like, get the dog or whatever. This dog is getting on my nerves. And that little girl was not paying attention. She was just
watching TV.
Watching TV.
She was enthralled. I was like, dang, is it good?
So apparently, because she was watching,
was she watching
her?
The Thing?
She was watching The Thing. One of them was watching The Thing. Yeah. But yeah, so she's watching TV. So dog leaves, and then Annie accidentally got butter all over her clothes. So she just got undressed in the kitchen. I was like,
I said, was it that bad? Like, I thought it might have just been like her undershirt, but she had on like that plaid shirt over it. I was like, you could have just buttoned up your plaid shirt. Was it all over your pants and stuff? She took everything off except for her underwear.
Yeah.
Well, she wasn't wearing a bra, but still.
Yeah. While she's undressing, Michael is outside watching.
Creeping. The white creep. Yeah.
So she finds a shirt, and then like Michael, I guess he accidentally knocked over a plant or something. he just ran off.
Because she heard it.
Yeah, she heard it, and then he ran off. So he moved around to the other window, and then the dog was outside, so it started barking. And then again, Annie is like, Lindsay, go get your dog.
Oh my God, he's getting up. She was like, Lindsay, come get your fucking dog. He's getting on my nerves.
And again, like, Lindsay does not care. She is sitting on the couch. So Michael kills the dog. And so Annie hears it like crying, and she's like, oh, never mind. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she wasn't like, never mind, because she heard it crying. She heard just, like it whimpering, and then it stopped. And she was like,
that's why she was like, oh, yeah.
It shut up, was what she was like. But
yeah,
finally,
basically.
Man, I felt so bad for that dog. I was like, my heart, because they showed, like, you could see, I don't know how they did this, but you could see, like, the life just leave him. Like, because his little legs drooped. And I was like, how the hell did they do this?
Hopefully.
I know they didn't kill no real dog.
No, I know. But there was a movie where they did kill animals.
Oh.
That's why it looked so real. Yes. Because one of the actors, I think it was Cannibal Holocaust. But yeah, like one of the actors, he was like, it was like this big turtle or something. And they made him kill it. And he was saying how after that, he was so traumatized.
Oh my God.
But they killed more than one animal on that movie. So
that's crazy.
But I doubt that they killed that dog though.
Yeah. Maybe they just taught it how to play dead, and that dog deserves an Oscar. That dog deserves an Oscar for the best. I was like, dang. So inside the Doyle house, which is where Lori and Tommy are, and then Tommy is basically like, no, like, Lori, let's talk. Like, please, who is this boogeyman that everyone speaks of? And Lori's like, no, Tommy, like, for real, I got you through, like, whatever.
The movie could have, again, ended right there because she asked him, like, well, what does it look like? And if he would have been like, well, it's a guy in a blue jumpsuit wearing a William Shatner mask, she would have put 2 and 2 together.
Oh.
And because she
What
was
did
like,
he
well, what?
say?
He just said a boogeyman. She was like, what does it look like? And he said
Oh,
a
okay.
boogeyman. So.
Because that's what he looked like. I don't know, a boogeyman. It looked like the boogeyman
or
to
he
me.
could have been like, oh, it was a guy wearing a white mask. And she probably would have she's smart. She probably would have put 2 and 2 together and be like, oh, shit.
But he believes it's a boogeyman. So
Yeah,
your
he
first example, like, of a man with a white face.
Yeah.
So go back to the Wallace house. That's where Annie and Lindsay are. And Annie spilled that butter all over herself. So she had to take all her clothes off and she had to do the laundry. So she goes to the laundry room, which this is the most inconvenient laundry room of laundry rooms.
Man, I was like, why?
You had to walk outside and it was in a separate, like, a guest house, which, I mean, I guess if you're trying to save on space. But I'm not doing my laundry at night. That's what I do know. Because that's, yeah. So she had to go and show her putting her stuff in the machine. And then we see the shape that is looking at her, the same shape, which is Michael Myers, through the door. But she doesn't see him. She's like just doing her stuff. Annie ends up locking herself inside that laundry room. And she's like calling for Lindsay to help her. But again, Lindsay is so focused. Lindsay is like, by this time, she's vegged out. Like, she is like into the thing. And she's like, dang, how the heck am I going to get out of here? So Annie's like calling for her. They cut to Lindsay, who's sitting inside still watching TV. And the phone rings. Lindsay answers it. And it's Annie's boyfriend, Paul, an uncredited John Carpenter. He's like, where the hell is Lindsay at? And she's like, oh, well, she was in the laundry room. Let me go get her. And then she finds Annie. Annie is trying to go out the window, but she gets stuck. And I was like, she lucky. Because he was this close to getting her. Like, he could have got her. And I was cracking up because she was like, well, don't tell anybody that I got stuck. She was like, okay. And as soon as they go in, Lindsay picks up the phone and is like, yeah, Paul, I got her. She was stuck in a window.
Man, kid.
I was like, she had just told you not to tell anybody. Yeah, she was stuck in a window. But anyway, Paul is like, hey, he shoots his shot because everybody's getting butt tonight. And he's like, hey, come pick me up.
Come pick me up.
Yeah. And then she agrees to come pick him up.
So she took Lindsay across the street to the Doyle house so Lori could watch her. If I was Lori, I would have been like, no. You better give me the money that they giving you to babysit.
Heck yeah, that's true. If it's that serious, how much is your booty worth?
Annie goes back to the Wallace house and she happy. She thinking she about to get her something. She's singing.
She was singing the shit out of that made up song. Paul, I'm so enthralled. Whatever she was saying, I was like, yeah. This Paul better be a great.
Oh,
he must got some good D. She was really singing.
Oh man, that was hilarious. But she couldn't get in the car. So she goes back to the house, gets the keys, and gets in the car. Still not dressed because, she spilled butter on her clothes. I don't even think when she went back to the car, it was unlocked. How?
Yeah.
How? But she wasn't paying attention. She just thinking about whatever his name, Paul. And she just get in the car.
That's what I said. I said, how you not even realize? That was the first thing I said. She just sat in the car.
Yeah.
And I was like, how did you not realize that the door was unlocked? And she literally said, oh, the key. She said it out loud, I believe.
Yeah. So she gets in the car and she was like about to wipe the windows. And then here comes Michael in the back seat. And he's like grabs her by the throat and he starts strangling her. And then not only that, he slit her throat.
Yeah, it was excessive.
Yeah, it was. And so, yeah. So there goes Annie. Annie, are you okay?
Are you okay, Annie? I was like, at first I was like, she sounded like she dying. But then I was like, oh yeah, she dying. It was just horrible because she was like,
was.
wasn't she like, I was like, oh my God,
Man.
how didn't anybody hear that? And he was making her honk the horn. Like, granted, I get it was
Yeah.
in the garage, but nobody heard at least the horn honking. Like, I was like, oh my
Man.
God.
Well, we gonna get to it later, but people in that neighborhood be minding their
Don't
business.
give a shit. Don't care at all. Somebody help her. Yeah, we're going to get to it. Talk about the
Man.
bystander effect. Ugh. Okay.
Man.
So, going back to the Myers house, Dr. Loomis is still just kind of standing around waiting to see if Michael's going to come back to the house. And so these three trick-or-treaters, these three kids, one of whom is Lonnie Elam, they dare each other to go inside. And then Dr. Loomis is behind the bush. He was like, get your ass. He said his name, didn't he? He was like, Lonnie.
Yes.
What did he say? Get your ass
Get your
home.
ass
What did he say? For real, it was basically what he said. I was dying. I was dying.
Man.
I was like, who wrote this? This is golden.
Genius.
This is 5 stars. Just because of Dr. Loomis, you get 5 stars.
Is this the part that we were both talking about at the beginning?
Yeah,
I was like, yes. I was like,
he says the darndest things.
Oh man, I'm crying.
Well, no, but basically he's trying to protect them, so he scares him away from the house.
At the Wallace house again, Linda and Bob, they get there drunk. Because remember they were supposed to be they were supposed to be meeting Annie and Paul. I can never remember.
Yeah, Annie and Paul.
Yeah. So they get there and obviously they're not there, so they just go in there to go
I was like, they're not gonna question that the house is empty. No.
So yeah, because they don't even know that Lindsay is at the other house. So they just go up there, just start going at it. Cause they get there and they see okay, all the lights are off, but they don't even care.
Mm-hmm. They're just like, we're alone.
Yeah, they're on the couch kissing and stuff, and Michael is watching them again. So then it cuts back to the Doyle house, and then the phone rings. Mm-hmm. And it's Linda calling from the Wallace house. She's asking, where is Annie? So I guess they cared a little bit. And so she told him, she went to go pick up Paul or whatever. She was just like, call me when Annie gets back. Basically,
she should have been back.
Basically, she needs to come get Lindsay. So they get off the phone. They go upstairs
to get it on.
Yeah.
Wow, baby. And Lori watches the lights go out.
Yeah.
So upstairs in the Wallace house, of course, it's the 70s. They had to show it. I mean, they probably would have showed it now too, but you know what I mean.
And it probably would have been more.
More graphic.
Yeah.
They do what they came to do, but the phone is continuously ringing. So Bob takes the phone off the hook and they do what they gotta do. All this time though, Michael is watching them. Like you could see his shadow across the wall. You see that he's been watching them the whole time, like the pervert he is. They finish. Bob goes downstairs. Linda, in true cliche fashion, lights a cigarette. You know, people smoking a cigarette after you got some booty. So you see Bob, he's going to get more alcohol, and then he hears a noise. He looks through the kitchen door, but he doesn't see anybody. So he's just like, okay, whatever. And then when he goes to open the pantry door, Michael Myers just jumps out, jump scare, just like that. And then he shoves him against a wall of cabinets. He lifts him like a rag doll into the air and then stabs him in his stomach. He basically stabs him into the wall, and Bob dies. Mm. Okay, and one of my favorite scenes in this entire movie So, because it's so like, what the fudge?
I
So
know.
upstairs, you see Lydia, she's big chilling. And then the bedroom door creeps open. And there you see it's Michael Myers. We know that it's Michael Myers. Linda obviously does not know it's Michael Myers. And he's dressed in like a sheet, like dressed up like the little ghost. And he has Bob's
Glasses.
glasses,
I was like,
his
man.
glasses over the top of his sheet. And I feel like in his mind, he was like, this is the perfect disguise. This is the perfect disguise. He was like, she'll never know.
She'll be
And
none the
then
wiser.
no, and then I feel like I didn't really pay attention to how tall Bob is, but I feel like he wasn't as tall as Michael Myers
I
either.
don't
Like I
think
feel like
so.
Michael Myers looked ridiculous standing in the
Yeah.
doorway. Like, come on, Linda. She's basically like, "Hi, quit playing. Like, where's the beer? Like, where's the party?" And he doesn't answer. He just stands there. She's like, "Okay." So she's like, "Hey, you want these goodies again?" Like, I don't know. She just shows her boobies for whatever reason. She thought I was going to de-escalate the situation. I don't know. He's still just standing there, not moving, not really doing anything. And she goes to call Lori. She's about to ask where Annie and Paul are. But as she's going to call her, like she's able to dial the number. I'm sorry, but before she's about to speak, Michael Myers comes behind her and strangles her to death with the telephone cord. And like, so what happens is, she screams. Linda screams, and then Lori's like, what the heck? She thinks it's Annie. She thinks that Annie's playing a prank on her. She doesn't know what's happening. Michael picks up the phone and then basically like just listen to Lori. Like she's like, "Are you okay? Is you okay? Like what is it? Joke? This isn't funny. Like what's up?"
And she was like, if you're joking, I'm going to kill you. I was like, well.
It's too late. Definitely too late for that. She makes sure that the kids, Tommy and Lindsay, are okay, and then is gonna decide to go over there.
Back at the Myers house, Dr. Loomis, he's still there waiting. He's standing outside and he sees the Smith's Grove sanitarium car. And so he started running down the street.
Yep.
So then you go back to the Doyle house where Lori, she still hasn't heard from anybody. So she gets the keys and she goes across the street, the keys to the house, and goes across the street. She's ringing the doorbell. Nobody's answering. So she walks around to the side of the house. The kitchen door was open. So she went inside and she went upstairs and she sees the light from the jack-o'-lantern, like from under the bedroom door. So
Yeah.
she opens the door and she sees Annie's body on the bed with Judith Myers' headstone. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, it was intense.
Yeah. And so she starts crying and she backs into the closet. And then Bob's body falls down into the doorway, hanging from the ceiling. And so she's like,
She was like, ah. I said, I don't blame you. I would have died too. It was like her soul left her body. She was like, ah.
man. And then when the closet door opened, Linda's body was there. I was like,
It was so much happening back to back.
So she ran out of the room. She goes in the hallway. And out of one of the rooms, it's like a dark room. Michael, like you see him behind her. You see the mask behind
Mm-hmm.
her. And she's like walking forward against the balcony. And then he reached out and he stabbed her in the shoulder. She's still screaming. And then she falls over the balcony, like on the stairs. She's fallen down the railing, down the staircase, and she sprained her ankle. So Michael, he starts like walking towards her and she gets up. So she gets up and she runs towards the front door, but it won't open. So then she runs through the living room into the kitchen and she locked the door behind her. And when she gets to the kitchen door, like the way she came in, it's
Yeah.
like a rake or something like under the doorknob so she can't get out. And so all of a sudden Michael's hand like breaks through the other door and he turns the lock and then he gets in the room. So Lori, she broke the glass with her bare hand. She was like, okay, I'm not gonna do this. And so she knocks the rake over. She finally gets out and she runs out into the yard.
She
Yes.
fumbles into that whole scene was stressful because of the way she was screaming, because she was just like and then I was like, even when he couldn't see her, I was like, Lord, you need to calm down, because you could at least
Man.
hide. She couldn't even hide because she was just like and she wasn't even like, towards the end she started asking for help, but she wasn't even asking for help, she was just making noises. And
Yeah.
I was like, why was this a character choice for you to just be she could have hid. She probably could have hid. But
I
she was making
mean,
so much
she
noise.
was
I was like, shut
panicking.
up. No,
She was
shut up.
panicking.
Shut up. I was like, I can't do this.
Man,
Just get her. Just go, Michael, just get her. It's too much.
that's funny.
What they be saying there, stand with your, like, stand up, use your chest.
I mean, you don't know
uh,
what you would do. You
I don't know
probably be
that I'd be like,
screaming too. Again, that lady from that
You
Twilight Zone
right.
episode.
That's what it was. That's exactly what she was, just
Yes,
shook, fighting for her life. So Lori she's screaming literally at the top of her lungs.
she was.
She runs to another porch. And wait, okay. So I said, this is messed up. Whoever it was
Man.
looked like a lady. She turned on the front porch light. She let you know that they were home. Like, she was like, oh, what's happening? And she looked out the window and Lori was like, help. And the lady just closed the blinds and turned the light off. Like, you're not going to help her,
Man, they do not
ma'am?
care.
No, they probably thought it was like a Halloween prank, but she was by herself. I'd have at
Yeah,
least been like, are y'all
and
okay?
she was
Or
making
I
all
got a
that noise.
gun. She
Yeah,
was literally screaming, like yelling for her life. Like, you knew
she
this was serious.
was.
This wasn't no prank. This was not a game. So she has to basically run back to the Doyle house because nobody's helping her. She's looking for the keys, but they're gone. So she can't get back in through the front door. So she's panicking. She's like banging on the door. She's trying to wake Tommy or Lindsay up. Somebody to help. Somebody wake up. Then she sees Michael Myers and is like, oh, shoot. No, like, come on, somebody, anybody. Come on, let's go. She she finds this potted plant and she throws it. She throws it at Tommy's bedroom window. Finally, he wakes up. I don't know if he was chocolate wasted or what,
He
but she
probably
was
was.
making a lot of noise.
Tommy was like, "Who is it?"
What? What do you want? So he finally wakes up. He goes downstairs. He has no idea what's going on,
Taking
obviously.
his sweet time.
Yeah, he was taking his time, but in movie magic fashion, he gets there just in time, and then he lets Lori in. She hurries up, she locks the door, and she's like, Tommy, go upstairs. She turns out the light. There's like a moment, and then she sees him out at the window. She tries to hide behind the couch, but then Michael basically like leaps out from behind the couch and then attacks her. He tries to stab her, but he just gets the couch instead, and he messed that couch up, by the way. So she's probably gonna be pretty messed up. And Lori's like, I need to defend myself, so she grabs a knitting needle and stabs him in the side of his neck. And then he's like, staggers back where he dies. We think he's dead. Apparently, allegedly, he's dead.
The way he hit the floor, I was like, "Oh, that was loud." So
He's
you
because he
would think he was dead.
big. Okay, so she runs upstairs to check on the kids. They cut to Dr. Loomis, and he's lets the sheriff, Mr. Brackett, know, hey, I found the Smith Groves sanitarium car, so I'm gonna go to where I believe that Michael is. So, and then Mr. Brackett is like, oh shit, yeah, this is real. This is really happening.
Upstairs at the Doyle house, Tommy and Lindsay, they run up to Lori thinking that it was the boogeyman that attacked her. And she was like, "No, he's dead." And Tommy was like, "Oh, you can't kill the boogeyman." And then as
Yeah.
soon as he said that, here comes Michael.
With a quickness.
And so Tommy and Lindsay, they go back in the bedroom while Lori goes in another room and she hid in the closet. Oh, so she like tries, I guess, to lock it. So she ties a pair of like stockings over the doorknobs. But then he was like, I ain't stupid. And he started trying to get in the closet. He breaks down the top half of the door. This part stressed me out because when she grabbed the wire and she was trying to like shape it, and he was like, and I was like, oh my God. So she finally gets the hanger like how she wants it, and she stabbed him in the eye. He dropped the knife and she took it and she stabbed him in the chest, and then he fell
Dead,
dead.
presumably.
So my thing is, he's laying on the floor, and when she stepped over him, like I would have like, for good measure, like stabbed him in the head or something. But she
I
dropped
thought
the
you were gonna say
knife.
kick them.
No.
I'd have kicked them.
So she just dropped the knife and walked off. And then
Right.
she's telling, Tommy and Lindsay, like, it's okay, y'all can come out, go next door and tell them to call the police. And so they leave.
Run for
Like
your
they were,
life.
when they ran out the house, they was panicked.
Running
They
for
were
their
screaming.
life. Help!
And so Dr. Loomis, he was like, okay, he saw them. So he was like, okay, Michael has to be there. So he goes up to the Doyle house.
Inside the Doyle house, you see Lori. She's basically trying to get her life together. Yeah, she's about to lose it. And she doesn't know this. She does not see Michael Myers, who she thought she killed. He's starting to get up behind her. So she stands up and she leaves the room. And then Michael's like, where you going, girl? And he grabs her by the neck. He's like, you thought this was over, but it's not. And he starts to strangle her. But Lori is a true final girl. She fights back and she pulls his mask off, and you get to see Michael's true face.
Mm-hmm. Fun fact, I'm glad you said that because this movie popularized the term final girl. So,
oh,
there you
shut
go.
up.
Yeah.
She deserves it. She was pretty badass. She yelled a lot, but
Because I was going to say, even though there were like a couple of movies before this that had final girls, but this was a movie that made the term popular.
that's cool. Fun facts.
Yeah.
Okay, so Dr. Loomis, you see him at the top of the staircase. He has his gun. He pulls that baby out, and he's like, pow, 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 pow. Take that, Michael. Pow, pow. And Michael's just like, and he falls back into another room, and then Laura's just like, oh my God. And then Dr. Loomis chases him into the other room. They're standing in front of the balcony doors, and Dr. Loomis just empties the clip. He was like, pew, 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 pew. And then Michael's like, and he falls out the balcony doors, slams to the ground, and surely he is dead. He is down. And he did talk about slamming to the ground hard. He did kind of slam to the ground pretty hard. And they were on the second story, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he falls from the second story balcony, slamming to the floor. Lori was basically like, it's the boogeyman. And then Dr. Loomis was like, as a matter of fact, it was. Real dramatic, like. It's real dramatic. They look down. He goes to look again, and with horror, he sees that Michael has vanished. But Dr. Loomis knew all along that this could happen. That's why he was so adamant about finding him in the first place. And then Lori is like, oh, shoot, he's not there anymore. She has a panic attack. And then the film ends. And then Michael Myers, the legendary man who came home on Halloween night to kill, is just out. He's still out and about. So it's not over. So you know it's not over. They leave it open for the franchise that it is today.
Yes. So what are our final thoughts on this movie?
If I'm putting on my 78 lens.
78, yeah.
I think it's a solid movie. I think
Yeah.
The scares are pretty good. Like I said, for my taste, I feel like when he's doing stuff, he moves kind of slow. But like the anticipation that what is it, John Carpenter, that he builds like
Mm-hmm.
with the overtures and the scores when there's no dialogue and it's just like, oh, what's about to happen? Is she gonna get stabbed? Is she gonna die? I think he does that really, really well. So I think it's a pretty solid movie. Obviously, there are multiple movies, and I
Mm-hmm.
think I think it should stand pretty high in the franchise. It's not my favorite. You know what my favorite is?
Yeah.
Halloween H2O is my favorite, one of my favorite ones. But it could be though too because it was my time. Is
Oh,
around
yeah,
my
that's
time.
true.
So
That's true. Let me see which one would have been around my time. Because there's so many of them.
I was about to say,
So let's see, going by when I would be old enough to be like,
yeah,
okay,
because we went to the movies. I remember going to the
yeah.
movies to
Oh,
see
dang,
Halloween H2O.
H2O is 98. I guess mine, well, then I would have been,
Maybe The Curse of Michael Myers, or maybe that's your Halloween H2O. I don't know.
that's what I was thinking, The Curse. Yeah. Yeah, it would be that one. And I do not remember that one.
Yeah, I don't remember
So,
that
and
either.
that one has a 9%.
Um, well, been there.
Paul Rudd was in it. Oh,
What? Yeah, I've never
okay.
seen it. I
I've
think.
never, yeah. And Paul Rudd was Tommy Doyle.
Oh, yeah, we gonna have to add this to the list because I've never
Yeah.
seen this.
Yeah, so this one he was targeting Tommy. Okay, yeah, we're gonna add that one. Anywho, I think I have the same thoughts. This was like one of the first slasher films that I watched that I actually like remember watching.
Yeah,
Besides, once I got into movies, this and Chucky were like one of the first two slashers that I've seen.
I don't know why parents back then probably felt comfortable about their kids watching a movie about a murderous doll. Like, here's a Halloween movie y'all can watch.
Yeah. But yeah, so Halloween holds a special place in my heart because it was like one of the first slashers that I saw. Like even watching it today, in my opinion, it still holds up. Cause some movies you're like, nah, really? I used to
Be
Yeah.
scared or this
Yeah.
is trash. Yeah,
So
I
it still
agree.
holds
Yeah.
up. My rating, what does it have?
No, wait, do your rating first because I wanted to see how
Okay.
close we got. And then, because I thought about that last
Oh,
time to see how
okay.
close we could get.
And we're doing it on from 1 to 5. So,
Yeah, because you said 1 to 5.
yeah. And then I gave Trick or Treat a 3, 3.5.
You
I
gave
mean,
it a
so a 3,
3.5,
yeah.
yeah.
So this, I would give it a 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dang.
Again, because it's a movie like I say, like all the movies I mentioned are like my introductions into the genre. So this, Candyman, Child's Play, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah. The classics
Yeah.
ish. The classic ish. The
Yeah.
classics for that style of slasher film.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna give it only because you mentioned Trick or Treat. So if I have to think of what I gave Trick or Treat, which I gave Trick or Treat a 4.2, I'm gonna give this a 4.5. Cause yeah, I feel like it does stand the
And you
test of
still
time.
went
I feel like
higher
I
than
could.
me. But
I
we're
know,
about the
right? Well, I didn't
same.
want to give it a 4.3 because I was like, well, no, it deserves a little bit higher
Yeah.
than Trick or Treat. But yeah, I feel like I could show a kid today and they might like mess with it. They might not be like, ew, this is old. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. They might watch it.
Yeah.
But let's see. It has on IMDb, it has a 7.7 out of 10.
Okay.
On Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 96%.
Oh.
Yeah, I know it's a really good ranking. But I think
Yeah.
too because it is a classic. And
Yeah.
then what's the popular? Where's Google? Oh, on Google it has a 4.4. So I was pretty close. We were pretty close.
Yeah. Okay, look at us.
Look at us. I told you we is self-proclaimed. We about to be movie critics. And by the end of this, we is gonna be certified to critic movies.
And then too, like this one, like I said, it was some parts where I was like cracking up because I like for mine to be like, have a little comedy in there.
Bit of humor. Yeah, I agree. Not so serious.
Even though I don't really think this was intended to be like funny, but how can it not be when he was like, "Get your ass."
Lonnie, get your ass. But anywho, yeah, that that is all, folks. We are taking off our movie critic hats for tonight.
Yes. Please follow us on Instagram at It's a Strange World Podcast, Twitter at Pod Strange World, and on Facebook and TikTok at It's a Strange World After All. If you love the show, please give us a 5-star rating on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, and if you have any movies or documentaries of the horror, thriller, slasher, or true crime genre and want to hear our uncensored, unsolicited opinions on them, email those submissions to itsastrangeworldafterall@gmail.com or DM us at any other social media platforms. D mentioned, let us know what you think.
Thank you for tuning into another bonus episode of
It's a Strange World After All. Yes, thank you, as always, for keeping it strange with us. Strange gang.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.